Hey guys, welcome back to the Interceptor. We are here with war number 8 of season 49, and Matrix has matched AOH. Their name is like a little symbol, like it's a triangle, an O, and then an H, so it might not be an A, but I think it's supposed to look like an A, so we're just going to call this alliance AOH. And they are, I believe they are usually a Platinum 1 alliance, although when we match them we had the same rating, so they must be on a win streak, which explains them matching someone ahead of them, because in going into this war, I think we were in like 12th place overall. But anyways, today we have another Hood war, and today is definitely one of the cleaner wars I've had recently, and I was actually really happy with how these fights went, especially because one of these fights I was extremely terrified for. Also, I am using Hood for 3 fights, just like in War 7, or sorry, War 6, when I ran out of bullets and died because of it. I'm again using Hood without Moleman for the same number of fights. And not only are they the same number of fights, the first 2 fights are identical. Because on Path 3 Section 1 here, we have Black Panther on the first node. Now, both of the times I've fought him already this season, he has been on the second node, but for the matchups that I'm doing, the node that they are on does not impact the matchup whatsoever. Also, the first time that I parried in this fight, I noticed that this person did not have max limber, so we are going to take advantage of that by being able to land a first medium attack during the stun, checking if an armor up triggers, and then going for a second medium attack, because that is a safer way to do it. Also, in the first 2 Hood fights of this war, you will notice that I play them very, very slowly, for the purpose of getting back a lot of bullets. So I'm not going to be throwing a lot of medium attacks. I'm going to just kind of be milking my miss. Like here, I'm going to make sure that I miss twice. There we go. And now I could use a heavy attack to end the fight, but what I did is I waited and then I parried. No, actually, I'm just going to throw this heavy. But yeah, because I did that, I gained 3 or 4 bullets back. So that's the kind of thing that you're going to see, because due to what happened in war number 6, I am now terrified of running out of bullets. So here we have this Odin. This is the same fight I've already taken twice this season with Sorcerer. Exact same strategy. Use the power gain blessing, and because I use that one, by the time I reach a special one, I will already be in the Fury. So I can just instantly throw my L1. However, in this war, I'm going to be taught a lesson, and that is that Sorcerer Supreme's L1 literally covers no ground. So I am going to dash back here, bait a dash, throw the SP1 while I am literally inside of him, and it still does not connect. Even though he was actively whiffing hits at the time. It still didn't connect, which is insane. But here, I didn't mean to parry. That was an accidental parry, but because I was in power gain, I could safely throw my L2, and I was sure it would not push to L3. There, I was not sure about the spacing, so I didn't counter that L2. And here, I could have just parried, but I chose to bait out this L1 because I'm very familiar countering his L1 from all the practice I did against him in Acropolis, because he is one of the first defenders. And that fight went down extremely cleanly. Wow, I'm just swapping words today. Anyways, in Section 2, we're going to have 2 very familiar fights, because I believe this is the 4th time I've fought Destroyer on either this node or the next node on Path 5 Section 2, and this is the 3rd time this season that I've had to take Ebb and Flow Intercept Nova with Hood, because they just seem to be such common placements. And yes, that is the only Kate Bishop fight in this war again, because she just didn't really make sense for any of my other fights, or at least she wasn't my best option for any of them. I'm sure she could have done Black Panther, although it would have been a little bit miserable. On second thought, maybe no, she can't do that fight. But anyways, what we're going to do here is we're going to bait the heavy and then dash back and go for the intercept. There I went for a naked intercept because I knew I had an invuln boost. That was actually on purpose, believe it or not. And the reason is because I just didn't really care. I wasn't too worried about this fight. And the main difference between this fight and the times I've done this exact fight normally, or other times, is that here I am not using an SP1 boost. I have used an SP1 boost every other time, but I was kind of just testing to see how quick and how safe it is without one. So here you'll notice I'm blocking a lot so that he does not throw that L2, and he actually is going to go down nicely without throwing a single L2 in this fight. He only threw one L1. So I'm very happy with how that fight went, and I took 0 hits that were not indestructible. I want to clarify that, because when I say I take no hits in a fight, it can mean two things. Either I didn't take a hit, or I was invulnerable for all the hits I took. Like, for example, if there was a fight where the plan was to push the defender to an SP3, and I had to do that once or twice, but otherwise it was a clean fight, I might say that, even though it's kind of stretching the truth a little bit. But here, this is the Nova again that I've taken several times. And you'll notice I am ending a lot of light combos, or I'm doing a lot of light ending combos for the simple reason of not wanting to consume bullets. I'm also going to be playing this extremely slow. I decided to bait the L2, full dex it. Here we're going to get the protection back down, but the indestructible charges are still on. There we go. Now they're gone. I think I throw the L2 here just to stop any buffs he might get. But at this point, I'm at 29. I'm at 29 and I'm feeling good. I'm like, okay, we have a lot of bullets right now. I'm going to throw this L2 and I'm going to get down to, what, 25? But at this point, I really just need to land one intercept and he's going to go down. We go for a medium, heavy, and that just kills. So despite the fact that in War 6 and this war, the two hood fights I took so far were the same fights, identical fights. In that war, I leave the second fight with 1 bullet, and then this one I left it with, what, 24? Something like that. And that is just because I adjusted my play style for the purpose of preserving bullets. And even if I didn't do that, I wasn't too worried, because you can really abuse Gorr to get a lot of bullets back. You can really do it, because if you bait his L1 on purpose when he does not have a Fate Seal up, he gains like 6 buffs. I don't know how many it is exactly. It's something like that. I don't know if you can hear the thunder in the background, but it is extremely loud. You can probably hear it in the video if you if you turn the volume up and you try to listen for it. But yeah, our first L2 gets us back up to 27 bullets, and at this point, I know it doesn't really matter. I'm going to go for one more L2 knockdown, and now he's just going to die when I go for this. So here, I'm going to go for a medium, hesitate for a second, and then decide to go for a heavy attack. Even if he had thrown that L2, I would have been able to miss the first hit, because I still had 1 guaranteed miss left in that invisibility, and then I could have blocked the rest, and because he had a Fate Seal on him, he would not have triggered any DOT on me because he had no buffs. So despite the fact that that may have looked dangerous, I knew exactly what I was doing and I was not taking a risk. This is the fight here. This is node 47 Adam Warlock that I was worried about. This is Sorcerer Supreme versus Adam Warlock. Now, luckily, I was able to find a video of someone else doing it with an unduped Sorcerer, because if you don't know, Sorcerer's dupe ability basically just, well, it does multiple things, but one of the things it does is it increases the potency of all of your effects, which is the Power Steal, the Armor Up, and the Fury as well. You get more damage, more power control. And there I ate the L1. I ate 3 hits. Those are the other 3 hits I ate in this war. But basically, as long as I just spam SP2 the whole fight, I'm perfectly fine, because I know how to bait his L1 consistently like that without activating the global. Without activating the global and being able to block it fully. And luckily, if block were to be an issue in this fight, I also have 85% block regeneration from Sorcerer's blessings, which is beautiful, because I'm basically taking no damage, and the little tiny amount of damage I am taking is getting recovered by my passive ticks of regen, because those little regen effects, they don't only give you the block regen, they also just give you flat passive regen, which is really nice, even for fights where the block damage isn't an issue. Like, even if you're not taking any blocked hits, it's just champion whose specials you can counter easily and you can push them to specials easily. It's still some really solid regeneration that can help a lot in the fights. But I did unfortunately mistime one L2 in that fight, where I threw the L2 into his pod because I didn't notice that one of my combo hits previously, right before the L2, pushed him into his pod. He is unduped, which means the pod cannot reflect stuns if you hit into it, and even if it could, I was using a special attack. And because he was in his pod after my L2 landed, he couldn't retaliate and hit me because he can't move while he's in his pod. So that also, despite being a slight mistake, because it probably delayed the fight by a few seconds. Obviously, if I'd held that L2, I would have been at the next L2 faster, which would have ended the fight faster. But really, those tiny mistakes in the fight just boiled down to 3 or 4 seconds lost. Like, I would have finished it 3 or 4 seconds faster, which in a war like this is just not going to matter. And we didn't have the best war. We definitely should have performed better because their defense was not as good as a lot of the defenses we faced so far this season that we have done better against. For example, our war against AF, where we had our lowest deaths of the season, which was 6, was probably the toughest or the second toughest defense that we've faced this season. So we know that we're capable of doing better against tough defenses and against a slightly weaker, it wasn't like terribly weak, just a slightly weaker defense such as AOH's defense. We did drop 8 deaths. Now, luckily, we were ahead for pretty much the entire war, and by the time we cleared all 150 fights, they had 120 fights cleared, and they already had 10 deaths. So we knew we won the war no matter what. Or sorry, no. They had 9 deaths. They had 9 deaths, so we knew we had won the war. We could chill for a few hours. They did clear with 12 deaths, so the final score was 8-12. But yeah, we need to do better than that, because if we were facing a top 10 alliance, that's probably not going to cut it, and we'd probably lose. But we'll see, because we've got 4 more wars left this season. We're currently in the middle of war number 9, which should be a good war, because while I haven't gotten my assignments yet, I've been talking with my officer, and looks like I'm getting 8 or 9 fights, so that's going to be really nice. But yeah, we are now 5-3 on the season, and we are actually in 10th place exactly in the leaderboard. So we are in the top 10 masters. We are in 7th place in top 10 masters, which is 10th overall, and we're pretty happy with that. So with 4 wars remaining, if we win 2 of them, we should have a very good shot at ending the season in top 10. And if we win 3, it's guaranteed. If we win all 4, there's an outside shot at top 3. Probably not going to happen because of attack bonus, but we might get like 4th or 5th because of tying records. Like, we'd both be 9-3, but I'm getting way too far ahead of myself. Basically, our plan is to just win at least 2 of the last 4 wars and try to end in top 10. But my death total is at 3 this season so far, and my PSR after this war is at 47 out of 50 fights soloed, or exactly 94%. And my deathless streak is up to 10 fights. So that is going to be all. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video.